Following the brutal Game 1 loss to the Boston Bruins, Sheldon Keefe has finally spoken out on William Nylander's status ahead of Game 2 tonight. So to break that down in this episode of Leafs Digest, as well as a plethora of Leafs updates. We have injury talks. We also have the players speaking out on the Game 1 loss and their mindset ahead of the huge Game 2 tonight in Boston. Stay tuned for all that in this episode. Before we do, quick reminder to hit that subscribe button. If you enjoy our daily videos, then subscribe to us. Leafs Digest, let's get it going. And Darius, speaking of getting it going, the Leafs need to tonight in about however many hours from now. If they lose this one, they're going to put themselves in a horrible spot. But let's start with William Nylander, someone who is definitely needed for the Leafs to win this series, really. I don't think that's too hot of a take, or at least would be a very big help for him to bounce back. And we have some major updates today. So William Nylander is taking part in the morning skate at TD Garden before Game 2, and according to Jonas Siegel, he's not participating in the line rushes this morning. The Leafs are running the same lines from Game 1, which is Bertuzzi. Yeah, you can read it here. It's the same lines as last game, the classic ones. But Sheldon Keefe did speak out and say he leaves the door open to William Nylander potentially playing the night. We'll see how he feels here the rest of the day here and make a decision. So, Darius, this one's a bit interesting. So, we still don't have a concrete answer. I'd hope at this point we were going to, especially because yesterday it seemed like he did participate in that highly optional skate where only 7 of the players, I believe it was 7, skated. I think more of them probably should have came out because of how bad they played in Game 1, but I'll leave that for another day.
I'd say you're right on that,
yeah. I don't know if he's going to play. We don't really have it seems like he could, which is better than what it was on Saturday when he was definitely ruled out, but I guess we haven't been in a duo since Game 1, but it wasn't a smokescreen. He is hurt or he's sick or something.
Yeah, something is going on, and like I mentioned in my video yesterday, like I don't want to speculate anymore because we don't know what it is, and like I keep bringing it back to the Marner thing where clearly it was a different injury than what was said. I don't think we should continue speculating because we'll never know. But I am definitely curious. I know everyone's really curious what's going on because it's really odd. Like this guy has played every game for the last 6 years, and all of a sudden he's too hurt after not being hurt in a game. Like we didn't see any injury. All of a sudden he wakes up the next day and he's feeling something and he can't play. I think it's really weird. I don't know what's going on, but to speculate, I don't know if we can besides what Sheldon Keefe is actually giving us now. But yeah, they're running with the same lines, but I think, they have to get it done tonight with Nylander or not, but I think his status is kind of upgraded in a way to Game 1, he was unlikely to play, and Game 2, he could play. So there is a little bit to that. He did skate this morning, so at least he's moving around and feeling it out, but he didn't take any line rushes. Like you said, he wasn't in the line rushes, so he didn't have like a set line or anything. So it still looks like he might not play, and that's tough, man. That is really tough for the Leafs because without him, he's a huge part of the lineup, and they have to rely on the top guys, again, that make the most money because they make that money, and the rest of the lineup is very thin for that reason. So they need guys like Nylander in the lineup, and they're missing him. We saw it in Game 1, but like you said, they have to get rolling in this game. They have to win this game. You go 2 down to Boston, even though you're coming back to Toronto, you haven't beaten Boston in about 8 or 9 games. So you let them get this one too, and you're in tough.
Yeah. I will ask you this question. Obviously, the line rushes are the same based on no Nylander. Is there anything you would change of these lines, assuming Nylander is out again tonight following what you saw from Game 1? Or do you think that, again, it was only one game and they played really bad? There's definitely no doubt about that. I'm not surprised that Sheldon Keefe didn't change things up. That seems, again, it was just one game, so you can make the argument that they need to kind of feel this out. And there's been success with these lines in the past. Domi played it. I'm not going to say he played a great game. He was physical, which was great to see in Game 1. Is there anything you would change from the classic Bertuzzi, Matthews, Domi, Nyes, Tavares, Marner, the normal guys? Or do you think that Sheldon Keefe should change things up and try something different, assuming William Nylander isn't there? Because if Nylander's there, obviously a bunch of things change for the better.
Yeah, well, if he doesn't play, then you have the exact same lineup as Game 1. I don't know if I would change anything off the start of the game. I didn't think, again, I thought a lot of it was bad luck and maybe bad matchups and stuff like that. And I thought the Leafs were trying too hard to be the aggressors. I think if they pulled back on that and just played physical and played their game, they'd be better off. So we'll see if they change that in this game. The only thing I would change is it was very puzzling for me for Yarncroke to be on the first power play unit. I'd put somebody like Bertuzzi up there, and I think they are changing it. I think I did see that in the morning skate. They are changing that. So I would change something like that, the power play, because it was not rolling. And to have Yarncroke, who hasn't played in like a month or two steadily, there doesn't make sense to me. So they got to get that going. They need another net front guy like the Bertuzzi. So I'd put him up there just to get him going too. And but I wouldn't change anything yet. I think the lines will change as the series goes. Obviously, if Nylander comes back in, and I do think the defense will change a little bit. But for this game, again, I don't think they played bad, and I would roll with it again. But I think if things are happening within the game, and this is one of Keith's weaknesses, as we've seen the last couple of years, as things happen throughout the game, and if you go down a goal and stuff like that, you have to pair guys who are going that game together. You have to make sure you give your team the best chance to win, not just stay with the same lines throughout the entire game and hope something happens. He has to make adjustments in the game, and I think that's been something that he hasn't done forever since he's been here. So that would be the only thing I would change. Make adjustments when see fit.
Yeah, and hopefully he's going to be able to do that. 'Cause, the Bruins coach will be doing that. And yeah, I don't. Again, like I said, I don't think they're not necessarily a point in changing lines to start the game. That may be an overreaction a little bit to a game that, yeah, the Leafs didn't play well. The luck was bad, and Samsonov needs to step it up. And let's get into some of the Game 2 updates that we have for today. And there is a good few here, and a lot of kind of players speaking out on these things. So let's start with this one from, I guess, Jonas Siegel again. So TJ Brody will remain out for Game 2. The Leafs appear to be sticking with the same defense, kind of similar to we covered. We predicted this. TJ Brody, he's not going to be playing, and that's probably a good thing based on how he played this year. But Samsonov spoke out on allowing 15 goals in his last 3 games. And I forgot about this. Keep on working. It doesn't mean after 3 games I'm a bad goalie. We've seen the last 3 months what's going on. I believe in myself and my skill. I believe in everybody in this room. That's a very good comment. Yeah, he hasn't been very good. Really, for the past, what seems like 10 or so games, he hasn't been the Samsonov that we've, I guess, expected after that. And then Ryan Reeves has a similar thing. Classic Ryan Reeves quote here. You can read it all. But he basically says you can't be worried about what happened in the past. You got to look forward. And I think that's what this group is going to do. And they have to, because they have no choice. Obviously, the turnaround time isn't too long here in the playoffs. Only a couple of games. And you mentioned it. I believe the power play unit is going to be changed up as well regarding Jan Krok and whoever else they decide to replace him with. Probably Tyler Bertuzzi. Yeah, any thoughts on these comments? The players seem locked in and ready to go, but I want to see it. We're going to have to see it in action because they said similar things before Game 1, and ultimately they came out unprepared. I don't know if unprepared is the word. I think they were definitely a bit too eager, fired up ahead of this playoff run where everything is supposedly going to be different this year. But I think they were just a little bit too amped up, and I think there were some quotes about that. I don't have them, but I think that was what they said.
A little, like you said, a little too amped up, too much emotion, stuff like that. I think David Camp said that too. And listen, I do like the quotes, but again, I want to see it on the ice. Like you said, we all want to see it on the ice, but I do like the quotes because it is true. Take Game 1, throw it in the garbage. We're moving forward. That's the playoffs. Focus on the next game. And we've heard the same quotes, right? We're learning lessons and all that stuff that insults our intelligence as fans and media members and all that stuff, right? We keep hearing that, and people do not want to hear that anymore. You don't want to hear that stuff, that lame shtick or whatever it is that they've been doing the last couple of years, because we've continued to hear it and nothing changes on the ice. So I'd rather hear, okay, we know we were bad. We're addressing these things. We know where we need to be better. We recognize it, we acknowledge it, and we'll move forward. I think that's better. I think as Leaf fans, maybe all of us, I'm not going to speak for everyone, but I think we can acknowledge that might be a little bit better than the same old, we need to learn from this and all that stuff. And, I didn't think we played that bad and stuff like that. No, they're acknowledging, okay, we made mistakes in these areas. We're going to fix them. Now they actually have to do it, because that has been an issue in the past too, not actually following through on what they say. So we're going to have to see in this game, are they going to follow through on that? I think they're going to have a much better game. In the Matthews, Nylander, Marner era, I think they're 6-2 in Game 2s or something like that. Like, they respond very well when they lose in Game 1. So we'll see if they do that tonight. I think they have the ability to do that. They just have to put it into action on the ice. So we'll see. But I do like the quotes. I like the language a lot better this year than previous years so far through Game 1. It's only been one Game 1, but I like the attitude and how they're like, okay, we messed up in these areas. We got to fix it, but actually fix it.
Yeah, and hopefully they're going to be able to do that. Who really knows? We'll know in a few hours, and we will have you covered as well post-game, some sort of content after the game for that, so stay tuned for that. But Darius said to wrap it up, let's hope that they can take care of business, because getting a split would be pretty good in a way against a very good home team and a very good team in the Boston Bruins. But a big game tonight. Hopefully everyone's fired up, and hopefully the Leafs can do what they were failed to do on Saturday, and that is win a hockey game. But thank you guys for watching. We'll see you later.